Hello everyone, welcome to Startup Academy. So, in today's lecture, we shall be discussing about the questions related to your water resources unit as we have completed it in the previous lecture, and also there were certain comments regarding the previous video. So, in the previous video also we had recorded that lecture, but due to certain issues related to the voice, therefore we are re-recording it. So, you can name this topic again as your practice session. So you can write it as a practice session. Unit we can write it as practice session. And one more thing for all the aspirants, the thing is that there's a new season out for aspirant. That is not a new thing. Okay, you all must be aware of it. Okay, the new thing for you, for all the aspirant, is that since the only few months are left for your examination to happen, therefore you should not focus on obtaining more and more knowledge of the subject or other things related. You should focus on what you have already gained. Therefore, gaining in the thing that you have already gained would be a great achievement rather than failing in the thing that you have already gained. See, you have already covered a sort of portion, and if you will move towards the perfection of that gain portion, that will be your achievement. And if you will move on in order to gain much of the things, and in order, or in that journey of yours, in order to gain much of the things would be left behind, or the things that are already left behind shall not be able to help you during the examination. So it is the best time for you to revise, for you to stick to what you have already studied instead of taking a new step forward or getting the things grabbed. Therefore, focus on your revision or make a strategy so as you can revise whatever it is left. Let it be alongside, or if you have certain sort of time, or if you are planning to invest extra time of yours, then you can give to that certain point, or certain, we can say, syllabus that is left. But my suggestion, my strict suggestion to all my students would be that you should stick to the point what you have already done, and you should come back to the revision part of yours, because it is more important. And I know, since the syllabus is more and you have already covered most of it, so revision gonna take time of yours. And revision is not like whole day you would be revising things. Obviously there are a lot of subjects so that need to be revised, so plan accordingly. So the best strategy for the winners, for the achievers, would be this time make it useful for your revision instead of focusing on major other subjects. So those lectures that have come. So now the coming sessions would be practice sessions. So keep your track, or make your I would say, make your schedule, or fix our video in your schedule so that you can practice with me. So coming on to our practice session, first we have all right. So starting with the practice session, and an important note for all, note is what? Revision time starts. So you can place this particular thing on your table where you study, on your study table, so that you are reminded every time by this note that I need to revise more, I need to spend my more time in revision rather than obtaining or grabbing more things. So that is even more important. पता चले हाथ में लड्डू already था and that has fallen when you went to grab another laddu. So getting two laddus is better than getting one laddu is better than having neither of them. So keep that thing in mind. Coming to our thing, we have, where did I include it? Okay, I included it over here. Okay, so water resources. With water resources, we have the solved PYQs. In the first few lines, it is just telling you the importance of the water, what all was there in the inclusion of the water, so that they are telling you how is water important, what amount of water resources were there. Oh, this is what? Okay, let's say we have water resources. In water resources, we have discussed the natural resources which included your lakes, rivers, and etc. Everything was there. Then another thing that we had discussed regarding to this was generation of electricity. That means the uses of water. Next thing that we had discussed, was pollution and its causes. Another thing that we had discussed while discussing it was solutions. So these were the particular things that we had already covered in the previous lecture. If you have not seen it, kindly go and have a view so that you can uh, attentively or you can attractively participate in this practice session. Also, one more important thing, that we are launching a batch. Obviously, the notification will come out soon, but before that, if you want live lectures, if you want to give answers online, if you want live lectures on YouTube, because we are conducting lectures on our we can say official official app, so that is a different thing, that is for the payers. But if you want free live lectures on YouTube, or just a quick practice session for both the statistics subjects and for the GS subject or English subject of yours, so then also you can just comment that down so that we can come up with these sessions, because these sessions are quite important, as your revision practice would be enhanced and you will get to know what all type of questions could be asked, so that you can practice accordingly. So if you want such things, you are welcome. In the comment section, just write that down, we want session or something like that. Whatever you want, you can just write that down, so that we are aware what you are willing or what you want to have from us. Okay, okay, coming to the first question now. So much of information given, sessions we are planning. Explain the distribution of water resources in the world and discuss the problems related to the scarcity. They say that you need to explain the distribution of water. While explaining such distribution cases, it would be very helpful if you, we can say, if you draw a, say, if you draw this tabular representation, because the examiner who would be checking your answer will be aware that the person or the candidate has a knowledge for that particular thing. Therefore, this data is essential since you belong to an analytical, say, analytical field, so that is important for that. And here they are asking you the distribution of resources in the world, therefore you can mark this table as important. Agar पूछते हैं directly, if they ask, you can draw it, and if they're not asking, then also in the conclusion you can draw wherever the causes they will ask, so then also you can write this as conclusion, because the resources are limited and people is like dividing, or we can say multiplying in numbers. So that is one thing, so you can just write it in conclusion of many other answers. So this whole thing you can mark it as important. This PDF you will find it on our Telegram channel. Next, coming on to discuss the problems of water scarcity. See, we are saying that around almost 70% of 70 we are saying that 71% of earth is covered with water, and still we are facing this scarcity. Therefore, why is the need to conserve water? There is need to conserve water because of this particular thing. This table explains itself that that the world or that the earth has unfair or uneven distribution of the water. Therefore, water scarcity problems are there. This is the one thing. And another thing is that, see, fresh water is just 3%, and it is again unevenly distributed because most of it is trapped in ice caps and it is trapped in the glaciers. So that is not available. That will be available once it melts. Another thing, the surface water is also and comes under the category of, we can say, only for the rivers. It comes under the category of fresh water. But again, the distribution, see the distribution over here, the distribution over here, and the distribution over here. So these three distributions are very, very, very abnormal. That means if you want to take the ratio, they would be like 60%. If we take approximately 60, 30, and 1. This is the ratio. How unevenly it is distributed, that you can see via this calculation or via this table. Then we are saying that, okay, this they have explained it in their own language, so this you can read on your own. Since we have studied this, we shall not be reading this whole paragraph. Another thing, they are saying that in the world, they are saying, therefore here we have mentioned about the arid, semi-arid regions and the tropical rainforest regions also, and Congo Basin, Amazon Basin. So all these basins are also mentioned regarding their rainfall properties, regarding their underground water storage. So that is also playing certain sort of role. Now, coming on to the major causes. When we talk about the major causes of the water scarcity, firstly, sorry, firstly, the major cause would be like uprising population. Since population is high and resources are limited, that could be the major cause. Another major cause is global warming. Why? How come global warming affecting the this thing of ours, like water? Global warming is for heat. Why are you relating it to that water system of ours? It is so because we have studied hydrological cycle. Since we were studying hydrological cycle, that involved a stage where precipitation was involved. The precipitation was the key source for fulfilling of the river sources or the surface water. If there would be no precipitation, there would be no fulfillment of the resources, and hence water will not go up again in form of vapors in order to come back on the earth. Therefore, the hydrological cycle is disturbed due to the global warming, and hence we can say that there are certain variations or changes in the rainfall. So that is the one thing that we need to focus upon. Then also the industrial pollution. The pollution is at its peak, like industries are using or throwing effluents. Industries are using chemicals, throwing those waste materials and effluents directly into the body of water, due to which the whole part of water is being affected. So that is again one thing. When we talk about the consequences, what are the consequences, what are the results? Water is being depleted or water is being degraded from its level. It is fine on one thing, but when we talk about the consequences of water resources, the consequences of water resources would be like the hydrological cycle is being disturbed, due to which the whole climate of the earth that used to be balanced at one time is now unbalanced. So that is one thing and the major consequence. Another thing is, people living in rural areas are finding it difficult to survive with that dirty water. Also, the less availability of the treatment plants is there, due to which what is happening, the urbanized people to use that need to reuse that water which is coming after the treatment with lot of chemicals. So a lot of chemicals are going inside the person's body. Another thing is that since we are not getting surface water, therefore people are digging the ground in order to go to the ground level water. Now groundwater is there, it is fine, it is good to have groundwater, but what is happening is that ground level table is being deteriorated or degraded every point of time, due to which the consequences are should faced by us will be heavy. Now we have talked about the causes, we have talked about the consequences. What are the solutions that you're going to provide? They have not asked for the solutions, they have just asked the water scarcity. They have given you the topic, things you are mentioning, like you are mentioning the problem, then you are mentioning the solution, and then you are mentioning the consequences as well, what will happen or what might happen or what had already happened. So you are explaining all those things. So this is how the chronological order will be in your answer sheet as well. the the motto or the purpose of this practice session is that you know how to present. Things are already there in your mind. Just you need the pathway so that how you can write, how you can frame your answers. So coming to the solutions of these particular things, when we talk about the solution, according to you, what can be the solution? First of all, जब rain आती है, like rain water could be harvested. Rainwater could be harvested using the bamboo types and all those pipes, so that could be harvested. What happens is we can collect the rainwater on the roof, and once the rainwater is collected on the roof, the pipes could be set up so that they go underground and fulfill that level of ours. Or that whole water that is collected on the roof could be placed in a large tank and could be used later on. So this could be one thing. Another thing is that another thing could be like wastage of water has to be removed. Industry should take certain protocols in order to avoid these particular things. Oil spills are to be prevented. So these are the basic solutions that could be taken into mind. So here they are mentioned so that you can take in. Okay, coming to the next question. Next question says that discuss the importance of groundwater and the problems associated with its exploitation. They are saying that you need to discuss about the groundwater. What if they would have asked you only the second part of the question that they are asking in this second part? What if आपका question सिर्फ इतना रहा होता? Say अगर सिर्फ क्वेश्चन इतना रहा होता, या फिर आप कह लो ओके, व्हाट इफ आपका क्वेश्चन शुरू यहाँ से हुआ होता, तो लाइक द प्रॉब्लम्स एसोसिएटेड विद इट्स ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. सपोजिटली आपका क्वेश्चन यहाँ से शुरू हुआ था और यहाँ पर वो बोलता है आपको ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. आप बात कर रहे हो किसके ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन की? यहाँ पर लिख लो आप, ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन रेफर्स टू ग्राउंड वाटर की ओवर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन. अगर आपका क्वेश्चन यहाँ से शुरू हुआ था, या फिर आपके क्वेश्चन में आपको पूरी चीजें देखने को मिल रही होती लाइक दिस, तो या तो क्वेश्चन आपको यहां से शुरू हुआ हुआ मिलता, या फिर क्वेश्चन आपका ऐसा होता. कोई भी दोनों पार्ट में से कोई सा भी क्वेश्चन आता, स्टिल यू शुड हैव मेंशन दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. द हाँ, this whole thing you should have mentioned, this whole thing. Which whole thing I am talking about? I'm talking about this whole thing. No matter कितना है क्या है, every time जब भी आपको कुछ दिया जाएगा, every time you will take that particular thing in mind, you will keep it in mind, and at the as the first point you need to present its definition. So they have mentioned about the groundwater and its importance have been mentioned over here, as you can clearly see. So these particular things are important. You all know why it is important. Another thing is problem caused by over exploitation. When we are talking about the problem caused by over exploitation, we can say we can just make few notes that will be valid on all topics. Like if you are talking about in terms of soil, if you are talking in terms of air, if you are talking in terms of water, so there should be certain points that could be valuable or that holds value for every point of thing. So underground management, how it is important. So this is one of the major things that you need to learn. What are they saying? That is artificial recharge techniques must be adopted, and once these recharge techniques are adopted, percolation tanks could also be adopted. Then we have the strict regulation of ground extraction. Like people cannot extract groundwater every point of time. There should be certain protocols for extracting because groundwater level has to be maintained. Once it is degraded और एक बार खराब हो जाने के बाद it takes a lot of time in order to regain its original position or original level. Therefore, strict protocols are to be mentioned. This should be done from the side of the government itself. Sorry. Once you go to the government sector, you can just make those protocols on your basis, on your demands, and you can ask the other leaders to have these protocols in the section because they are quite important. Why they are important? They are important because for the upcoming generation, for their sustainable development, these particular things are important. Then we have promotion of water saving agricultural practices. What happens is people uses tube wells, people uses that draws large amount of groundwater, which is not helpful even. Sometimes they are taking bath like hell. Even the cows, or we can say even their cattle are fed in that water. So that is not particular thing why we are drawing water from. Okay, that is not particular thing that we are drawing water for. The major purpose is to serve the agricultural fields, and once they are served, it doesn't mean that if you have a tube well, you need to invite your say invite your relatives so that they can have bath in that. No, groundwater is to be used with a strict protocol. Therefore, energy that it is utilizing, so that is also impactful, that is also impacting the society and everything. Therefore, for sustainable development, certain things are to be prevented. Then we have the community participation in groundwater management and monitoring and mapping aquifers using modern technology has advanced. Like we have, instead of tube wells, what we can use the sprinklers, or we can you can say that we can use drip irrigation. So this is how the technology is advancing. That means whenever the water is required by the plant or the field, that could be fed directly by using the technological instruments in the field itself. But for that, farmers say that we do not have any knowledge of that. They must be very expensive. They must be very costly or something like that. Problems related to that. Therefore, farmers should be taught how to use them, how they can be implemented, and certain things are to be taken care from the side of the government. ठीक है? Coming on to the next topic of ours, that is the third one and the most important question, have been asked twice or thrice in your question paper. Again, the same thing would be revised that अगर यहाँ पर rain water harvesting mention नहीं होता, still you should have written a definition of what rain water harvesting really is and how it can be helpful. So rainwater harvesting, as I've told you, could be done in the semi-arid areas where the people receive, we can say, monthly rainfall, and that too in very large amount, and after that the whole area feels dry. So areas like this, say Gujarat, Rajasthan, certain areas like this can do rainwater harvesting, and once it is done, then the water could be stored in either larger tanks or could be again fed to the ground in order to improvise the ground level. The definitions they have mentioned how we can perform rainwater harvesting. First is the rooftop method, and then is the surface runoff. These two we have already discussed. Another thing is you can recharge the pits and you can also recharge the trenches. Recharging the pits and the trenches means जो छोटे छोटे गड्ढे वगैरह होते हैं, that also you can just get them filled. The pits and the trenches, that also could be filled with that. Another thing is that construction of check dams and percolation tank, that is the major thing that could be done on our side. Then the traditional water harvesting, like tanks we are using, or we are using step wells in order to collect the rainwater and then storing it for our later use. The importance of rainwater harvesting is when the rain would not be there, it would water would be easily available for the dry regions, like regions that are facing the dryness throughout. So for them also it can be used. When we are facing the scarcity, at this time the rainwater harvesting becomes majorly important for us, and then water availability is there to the drought prone areas, and then we have the sustainable development and water management could be easily done. So this is the conclusion. So in conclusion, you can, in this conclusion as well, what you can write is, you can write that table, where is it, here. Ha, this table could be mentioned in this answer of yours as conclusion is mentioned over here. So in place of that also, along with this also, in place of this also, you can mention that table, because that basically explains the we can say the importance of rainwater harvesting. Why is rainwater harvesting important? One reason could be, since we are having 71% of water, still we are not able to use all of that water. Why we are not able to use? This table provides the complete answer. This table provides the complete answer, and in a very particular format. So that also could be used. So this is how you can become very expressive in your answer, by including tables, by including chart, flow charts, mind maps, or you can say diagrams. Or if not, you are not good in drawing, then also you can draw flow charts or block diagrams, so they do not require anything but the heading of that particular subpart. So that could be done. So this was all from my side. Thank you and keep watching.